back to Comic Beyond. In this episode, we're going to be talking about ZATANNA, the Mistress of Magic by Paul Dini. So we're going to be covering the first covering the first three issues. So, for you who don't know who Paul Dini is, he actually started off working on Batman the Animated Series, and then from there went into working on comics and actually a ton of different animation things. But then he came over to DC and started writing for comics. And then one of his favorite characters is Zatanna. He did do a couple episodes based around her that he wrote for Justice League Unlimited, and then all the way back to Batman the Animated Series. But what we're focusing on today is his Zatanna solo run that he worked on, but mainly the first three issues. So in this story, Zatanna's got her magic act going on and doing her show. But behind the scenes, there's a villain called Brother Knight, and he's going around stealing souls. And what he's wanting to do is he's already running like the crime and like the underworld and stuff like that. And so what he wants to do now is collect souls to where he's strong enough to come to the human realm and run like the crime in the human realm, not just in the demonic. So people have been being murdered, and some of his demon minions have been going around collecting souls. Well, this is starting to attract the attention of law, and so we have this one detective character who's out trying to solve these murders that are popping up frequently, and it leads him back to trying to get help from Zatanna. Just because of how weird they are, and especially this one crime scene, he gets there and it's all different types of monsters and demons that have been slaughtered. So he goes and asks Zatanna for help, and so she reluctantly, in a way, kind of goes along with him. She's not really sure what exactly it is that she's needed for or what he's wanting. It's definitely her advice, but she's not really sure why he's bringing her along. So he brings her to this crime scene, and it's just like a slaughterhouse of like demons and stuff like that. And so she tells him exactly what's happening. Like, she already knows. She's like, this can't mean anything good. And so she finds out that it's this Brother Knight character that she knows from her past, and it had to do with her father and his death. And so now it's like a personal thing for her. And so that's issue one. And then in issue two, because at the end of issue one, she confronts Brother Knight. She goes to his club, and she's like, look, if you don't back out and go back to where you belong, you're going to have to deal with me. And she makes an example out of his minions. So at the end of issue one, he summons like this nightmare demon, which takes us into issue two, to where this nightmare demon, while Zatanna's trying to sleep, it's actually a reoccurring joke throughout the book. She just can't get a good night's rest. Every time she tries to relax, something happens. Somebody knocks on her door. Well, in this case, it's the nightmare demon that goes into her dreams, taunting her. And so she ends up being able to defeat him by tricking him. So she ends up locking him. She uses her top hat and like uses it as a prison and traps him in her top hat to use him later. And we'll get to that in issue three. And then while she's being tormented by this nightmare demon, the detective that she's helping, he gets approached by Brother Knight, and Brother Knight tries to like pay him off and gets him to try to come to his side, like as an ally or an informant. And so the detective's like, no, get the hell out of here. I'm not joining you. So that's how issue two ends. I actually really liked issue two, just because, especially in the dream sequences where she's fighting the nightmare demon, I thought it was really cool, and it kind of takes you through some of the periods of her life that she's not overly happy with. In continuity, she was with the Justice League. Something goes down, and she ends up wiping the minds of some of the characters, especially like characters like Batman. She's not necessarily happy about that, and it's one of those things that taunts her. I think Catwoman, I believe, was one of the ones she mind wipes, and all that kind of continuity happened prior to this book coming out. And so that takes us to issue three, where she finally confronts Brother Knight, And so the way she defeats him, and she gets to kind of see the spirit of her father. She defeats Brother Knight by using the Nightmare Demon. So she's like, I'll let you go. You won't be imprisoned by me if you go into his head and you stop him. And so he does, and that's how Brother Knight's defeated. He's like, and then she's able to save all the souls of the victims that he had killed or whatever. So she's able to free the souls and stuff like that. And so he's almost like in this weird mental state, since the nightmare demons kind of like messed with his head. And so the police come and they haul him off to some kind of asylum type place or jail. We're not sure yet, but he gets taken away. He's defeated, but it's one of those situations where she's kind of like down on herself because she thought hopefully maybe through him she'd be able to like get her father back. But unfortunately she's not, and that's like one of the character things for Zatanna is she's always trying to save her father. Because he had died years ago, but she's always trying to bring him back. So I really like this series. I'm only covering the first 3 issues. I'm a huge fan of Paul Dini. I'm going to be checking out some more of his comic book work. I know him a lot from animation, but I want to check out some more of his Batman stuff. He wrote Detective Comics for Batman and did like a little 2-3 issue miniseries within the Detective Comics of Zatanna. And so I want to check those books out. I've become a big fan of Zatanna. So I've gotten the trades and I've been reading through those. But I really did enjoy this first 3 story arc from Volume 1. So if you want to check it out, they do have a compendium, I believe, collection that brings Volume 2. Another like one-shot story. The solo series only lasted 16 issues because after the 16th issue, that's really when the New 52 started, and so they rebooted a lot of stuff, especially Zatanna. So it would have been cool to see this keep going for a little bit longer, but we got the New 52. But this new compendium brings Volume 1, Volume 2, and then the one-shot. So all 16 issues plus that one shot called Everyday Magic, which I want to check out. So great artwork throughout, multiple artists throughout this series, different writers. Paul Dini does a good chunk of it, but he does have different writers come in for a couple issues. So if you haven't checked out anything Zatanna, this is a good jumping on point if you're interested in the character. So I do highly recommend this book. It's very fun read, very easy read, very light reading. It's got humor, it's got the horror aspect, supernatural stuff. So I highly recommend it. So with that being said, this is Comic Beyond, and